So today we are joined by Saskia here. She is a running addict and she's come to talk to us today about running and injury and identity and how these can all be related. So thanks so much for joining me today, Saskia.
Thanks for inviting me.
No, that's okay. And so tell me about your running and how you got into it.
Yes, I've started probably getting seriously into it about in my 20s, and initially it was for weight loss. So I had gained a little bit of weight after I left school, so I was looking for a way to lose it quickly, and that's how I started to get into running. And then it quickly progressed from 5k to 10k to half marathons, and that was predominantly on road back in Germany. So I started doing events, and really just enjoyed running, the social side of it, but also a little bit competing. I'm not very fast, but still I liked doing events. And when I came to New Zealand about 14 years ago and got introduced to trail running a bit more, and also ultra running then as well, because I was meeting people that were training and competing in ultra distant events. And yeah, that kind of intrigued me because, like I said, I wasn't really fast. So I was like, oh, maybe instead of trying to go fast, I'll just go long.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Yeah, that's cool. And so, and you were largely injury free to begin with.
Yeah. So what I think one of the first injuries I can remember was shin splints.
Yeah, a common one, eh?
Yes. So that was probably already back in Germany, and then I had another bout when I got here. But then my nemesis seemed to be stress fractures. So I've had 3 stress fractures in my foot. Over a long period of time, which is kind of the only injury I seem to get. Like my shins seem to be mostly fine, and Achilles or knee and everything. Oh, actually I had a big knee injury as well, like 2016. It was like a cyst behind my knee. So, but yeah, mostly seems to be stress fractures.
And how did you come to get stress fractures?
Yeah, I think if I'm honest and if I listen to advice, it's probably mostly overtraining. I have a few, I guess, factors that, because I get them in my feet, so I have a few factors that contribute to them, which the shape of my feet, being female apparently as well, then apparently my diet, because I'm a vegan. At the time when I was getting a few more, I was also doing intermittent fasting, but also I think it was just not resting enough, just running a lot, and also doing a lot of other things.
Yeah. And so what would you say was the worst injury you've had?
I think it was probably all the stress fractures I had, because it is usually a long time you have to take off. It's minimum 8 weeks, but more like probably 3 months of no running, so that it can completely heal. Just at the end of last year, I was actually had for once not self-inflicted injuries. I was hit by a car on my bike, and my big toe was broken. So there was another, I guess, 10 weeks of being in like a moon boot. Because when I had stress fractures before, I was still able to cycle and swim, so that was something that could keep me a bit sane. But not being able to do much when I was in the moon boat, it was pretty tricky.
Yeah, and I guess since you kept going longer distance, you obviously really loved running by that point.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so when you got those stress fractures and you had to take off, 3 months at a time, how did that impact you mentally?
Yeah, pretty bad. Like I'm even known amongst my friends as like, oh my god, when she can't run, don't be anywhere near her.
Watch out.
So I tend to be quite grumpy. I can get pretty down. I would probably call it like a depressive episode. Just being I think I just don't have the same outlet in terms of like energy, but also what it gives me. Like running is my most social activity as well, because I go to lots of different running groups. I go away on the weekends with people to running events. So when that gets taken away, it almost seems then, what's left? Like what am I actually without this? I guess it is a hobby, but I'm kind of like, but what else have I got left? That's usually what I do, 3, 4, 5 times a week, and everything else I seem to do seems to also evolve around it, like an exercise in general, like the gym, yoga, swimming, all these other things seem all to kind of
Mm.
complement the running.
And was it just the social aspect, or what else about the running was it that made it so difficult to stop?
Yeah, I think the social aspect is the big one, but also I think it's the feeling of running. Like no other exercise can give me the same feeling. Like I can go biking for 3 hours, it just doesn't give me the same feeling and energy and happiness than a 30-minute run would give me.
Yeah.
One thing is a little bit probably like weight gain, but I'm actually these days not too worried about that anymore. But yeah, and it's just it's just one of my main things outside of work as well. Like I don't have children, so I have a lot of spare time.
Mm.
So it was just also like filling the time.
Yeah, and so how hard was it to lose that part of your identity? Do you feel like it impacted your identity at all? Because it sounds like a lot of your life kind of revolved around
Yes,
it.
yeah, definitely. And one interesting thing I really found, because I have a few friends that are non-runners, and they were really surprised when I actually said like I said at one point, I'm nothing without running. And they were like, oh, that's not how I see you, you know, like you're lots of things, you're all this and that, and I don't see you as this, you know, kind of runner basically, or even like long distance runner. And that was really surprising to me, because that's how I see myself.
Yeah.
And especially the thing as well, I found like, because when I look at my injuries, some of them are probably due to long distance running. So if I could just be happy doing like 10K or, you know, 15K, I probably would be injured less. But I was thinking to myself, especially when I thought of my identity, I identify myself as a long distance runner, as like an ultra runner. I would just unfortunately not be happy just doing a half marathon, which I know sounds awful, but
Yeah. And so how did you actually come through that? Like how did you start to see yourself as like more than a runner?
I think I'm not actually sure I do. So far, I mean, I've been lucky, touch with that. I've always come out of injuries and got back to running. So I usually survive by finding other exercise activities like biking and swimming, going to the gym. I've tried trying to do more maybe crafty things that force me to sit down, but it's not really me, so that's really tricky.
Yeah.
I try and use the time to just be social, like meeting friends for coffees or but even like, you know, like when I was having the broken toe, I couldn't even walk, and that was actually tricky because I noticed that a lot of my social activities just revolved around exercise. Even my friends would be like, oh, I could just come meet you for a walk. Oh, no, okay, just a cup of tea, you know? So,
But it sounded like that was really helpful, having people kind of share their perspective of, no, I don't see you as just a runner.
Yes, definitely.
That was really helpful to put it into perspective.
Yeah. And in general, the running community is very supportive. Like even if you're injured, like I could go and meet my running club for coffee after they run. But sometimes I also find it then hard being around other runners that might have just been for a run and I couldn't. So
Yeah, it sounds like it was a really important thing to you, the running.
Yes, definitely, And I always try to kind of remind myself that that it's not everything in life, and you know, it's like
but I guess if it's something you really love, then it's hard to like forget about it.
And I make always like really big plans of like being more, you know, doing all the physio exercises and like not overdoing it while I'm injured.
But even I find that can be hard, like because I've been injured in the past as well, and even trying to, you know, it takes a lot of self-control to be like, no, I'm not going to run, I'm just going to do the physio, and
definitely,
takes a lot of
But I found with stress fractures, I was getting a little bit paranoid as well, like, because I actually had people tell me, oh, I think you can go back to running. Even the physio said you can go back to running, and I myself said, oh, I think I might just take another 2 weeks.
Really?
Just to be sure.
Did you find that it impacted your confidence at all when you did start to run again? You were worried or anything? Or were you just straight back out there?
No, I would kind of really try and take it easy, and I find myself these days, and it took me a long journey, but that I'm now a little bit the fun police to other friends that are or you know runners I meet, that have maybe like a little niggle and just talk about running through it or not taking rest, or I see them strapped up and they say like, oh, the physio said I can still run, and I was like, yeah, but maybe you should take a rest, like before it actually gets so bad. Because every time I had a stress fracture, most of the times there would have been signs in the lead up.
I see. That it was like leading up to a stress fracture. Yeah. And what was the kind of darkest moment for you, or the darkest place that you got to with that?
Yeah, that was actually probably last year when I actually had, it wasn't really an injury, and that happened just before I got hit by a car. Just some intense pain in my leg that for a few days I could actually only stay in bed, and I was thinking it was something like compartment syndrome, but I'm not sure. It wasn't never tested. And that was one of the hardest times, because I was just for a few days bedridden, and I was really like, I thought I was going out of my mind, because I just had no outlet, I just couldn't do anything, and that's when I was getting really low, and friends were like, I would wake up in the morning, would maybe already start crying just when I just woken up, and that was a pretty bad time.
So because I suppose it's almost like grieving to some degree, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Because it's something that you love and you can't do it, and so it's like you really have to just try and. And so tell me about, and you said you were hit by a hit by a car as well, is that right? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was just commuting on my bike to work, and they were just turning a corner, and it wasn't even like at the time like a huge impact. I just lay on the ground and was like, that was a bit painful, and the ambulance came and brought me to hospital, and I was literally meant to fly to Wellington the next day and do a run there. It wasn't a race, but just a run with friends. And so I was waiting there to get an X-ray, and I was like, I'm a bit worried taking my shoe off. And then I took my shoe off, and I was massively swollen. And by that stage I was still saying like, it will be fine, I'm just going to squeeze it into a shoe tomorrow. And then when they did the X-ray, they just said, your big toe is broken. And I lost it a little bit. It was quite embarrassing actually. I was just like, and the nurses were like, okay, we're going to give you a moment to compose yourself. So there was again like I had, which is actually another thing I guess that really impacts when I'm injured. I love making plans. I have plans quite far in advance. So I had a lot of races and just even fun weekends away that were impacted by the injury that I just couldn't do. And that's another thing, like I'm looking forward to things, and then they get taken away from me, I found. Because
I guess that's part of the running, is having events to plan for and things to train for and things like that. And so how long did you have to take off when you broke your toe?
That was 10 weeks of running and being in that sort of moon booty thingy.
Yeah, that's quite long. Quite a long time as well, eh? Wow, that's quite bad luck.
Yes, there was just after I had this other funny weird injury with my leg that I was frustrated. And so what advice would you have to other runners? Do you have any advice to other runners or anybody who gets injured? What would your advice be to them? I would think I would try and still be social and involved as much as you can. For a while then I was volunteering at Park Run when I couldn't run, but sometimes then I found that a little bit I just didn't want to be around runners, but not removing yourself completely from the running community. And sometimes I find it interesting to see who is actually a real friend and who's just a running friend, and that's without judgment, but some people are just friends when I'm running. When I'm not running, we're actually not friends.
Not friends, that can be,
and then just having a plan B, and ideally having a plan B that's not necessarily also exercise. I love baking, so I will do a lot of baking, maybe some other volunteer activities.
So trying to find interests kind of separate to running.
But it is hard because I find I just don't get the same buzz from other things that I get from running, which is very tricky.
I can definitely relate to that buzz. And so where to from here? What are your plans from here for the future?
As always I say less is more, so I really try and train a bit less or run less. One thing I decided just for myself, I'm not going to sign up for events quite far in advance because I got kind of stung a little bit by not getting any refunds last year, and that annoyed me a little bit. So at the moment I'm just just running for fun. I'm not entering any races. I'm just doing like fun weekends away. I've just been to Stewart Island and went around Wahiora.
Oh, nice.
That was super nice. And yeah, just really trying to listen to my body and kind of, yes.
Yeah.
When I kind of, because I was actually even the other day saying to someone, usually it's when I'm thinking everything is going really well, that's when I start going a bit more like, okay, I want to do another run and another run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just, I guess, finding other social activities that are not necessarily running. So
Yeah. And also you just mentioned as before at the beginning that you're vegan and you tried intermittent fasting. What's been your experience with running as a vegan? Like, do you find that you like have good energy levels, and have you found that like restrictive in any way? Or
I've been vegetarian and also vegan for such a long time that I can't really say I noticed a huge difference. I'm on iron tablets, so like neither to the negative or positive, I would say, because sometimes people say like, and then I switched to plant-based and my times went through the roof. Hasn't happened to me. But yeah, I have to say in terms of intermittent fasting, that took me a long time and quite a few interventions from friends. I've stopped it now because I've read quite a bit about it and heard that it's, especially if you're female and an athlete, it can actually contribute to stress fractures.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because it's, on the one hand, like we hear all this information that intermittent fasting is really healthy for you, but then on the other hand, we hear that it can lead to injuries. What's your perspective on fasting?
Like I was doing it actually for a while, and the reason was I was injured, so I was like, I just don't want to gain so much weight. So that's when I did like, I guess the 16-8, the classic one, and it really helped stabilizing my weight. I guess it just didn't go down while up. And then I started kind of enjoying it as well because it's quite a good time saver, and you get 2 meals a day, blah blah blah. But then when I was getting another stress fracture, and I had a friend kind of getting a bit on my conscience with it, and that's when I stopped. And it was hard initially because I can almost be, I guess, maybe again like a little bit addictive doing it. But now I feel like I'm just fueling myself, and I've not, as I was expected, I haven't massively gained weight by stopping intermittent fasting. So even with the latest injury I had when I was 10 weeks off, probably gained a few kgs, but I wasn't trying not to get too worried about it.
Try not to get in your head about gaining the weight if you do get injured. So maybe I guess the lesson we could learn is intermittent fasting is good, but not if you're too active.
Exactly. That's what I thought as well.
Maybe
I think
that's
it's a really good thing for some people, but I think if you're endurance athlete, I don't think it's such a good idea, and especially as a female.
As a female, because at the end of the day, you need that fuel to actually to actually perform well, isn't it? Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions I had. Was there anything else that you wanted to add, or anything that you think we haven't covered?
No, but I was really intrigued by the identity thing, because that really is something that only came up last year for me when I was injured, and I was just saw myself as this person who was a long distance runner and had to kind of confront what am I actually. When I'm not. So that was it was really.
It's quite a hard it's a hard thing to confront, isn't it? Because I had a similar experience, and same kind of thing. I was running a lot, and then it was like it became like my identity, and then I got injured, and it was like, who am I now? And you really, it's quite confronting, isn't it? You really have to think about it and be like,
and I think
so. It can be interesting how much of our identity is actually, can become part of what we do, isn't it?
And I found it interesting, like, because I just said sometimes to either my friends or even my partners. My partner was not a runner. Like, you just don't understand. You don't understand if you're not a runner. I can't really see how people get excessively into knitting or something. They have the same kind of feeling, but
I guess it's a different kind of buzz, isn't it? Oh, cool. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me, Saskia. I really appreciate your time today, and make sure you subscribe and you'll see which guest we're going to have next week. So thank you for joining us.